Hey guys, I'm Stephanie and this is Steph's Stove, and today I'm going to be making a wonderful side dish, a carrot souffle, and I truly hope you'll enjoy this as much as I do. At one time there was a local restaurant that was in town and that they served this on their menu as a side dish, and it was just amazing. So I've tweaked the recipe just a little bit and I think I've completely nailed it. So with that being said, let's get started. To get my carrot souffle started, I have about 1.5 pounds of carrots that I've already washed and chopped. I did this yesterday and put them up. I just put a little towel in here to collect the extra moisture and put it in my refrigerator till I was ready to cook it. And to this, we're going to add our carrots to the pot and fill this up about halfway to about 1/2 inch over the carrots. And we are going to cook these on the stove before we are ready to start our souffle process, because our carrots are fresh and they're very firm right now. We need them extremely soft for this process. So I've just got these in there. And some of my carrots were very large because I did get these carrots from the farmer's market, not from the local grocery store. So some of them that were large, you see, actually when I cut them up, I cut them in half because I do want them to cook at about the same pace. And they're probably about 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch. Some are a little smaller in size. So you do want them somewhat uniform in size when they're cooking, because that will cause them to cook a little bit more equally. So let's take this over to the stove and get going. Alrighty, here we're back at our stove. And I have my pot on my eye, and I'm going to turn my burner on to medium high, and we are going to get these to come to a boil, and they are going to cook down probably about 15 or so minutes, or until they're fork tender. We want these very tender when we're going to get ready to move on with the next step. So we'll get this started, and once they come to a boil, we'll check them with a fork and see if we need to cook some more or how we're going to continue. Alright guys, it's been about 15 minutes. I'm going to check these. My carrots are fork tender, and what I mean by that is I can easily press a fork all the way through them, but I want them just a little bit softer. So I'm going to let them go for another 5 to 10 minutes, and then we're going to get ready to get our souffle progressing. Alright guys, it's been about 10 more minutes, so I'm going to go and check my carrots here. Actually, I'm going to turn them off. They look about ready. And I'm going to check and poke these. Oh, and that's much easier. Do you see how I can just kind of tear that apart with my fork? So when I press it, it comes apart, but then I can even move it against the side of the pan. They're so tender and bright. And this is the stage that we want our carrots at. So now let's move over to the sink and get ready to process everything. All right, now we're back at the sink. So we're going to take the carrots, and I'm going to carefully drain the water off. I always turn my water on first because it's just going to have a lot of heat coming down my sink. And I'm going to carefully pour the water off, making sure to get as much as possible and be very careful while you do this. Every bit of that water out, because we definitely do not need it. Alright, and at this point I'm actually going to rinse my carrots because I do want to cool them down. Fill it back up with cool water. Just rinse them off a little bit. And then I'm going to drain all of this water off as well. It's just going to kind of help cool them. You can do this step ahead of time and go ahead and cook your carrots and have them softened, ready to process everything together. Now, for our carrots to go into our souffle, we are going to have to get them into a smooth consistency. So I'm going to use my handy immersion blender, and I'm going to blend these to a smooth consistency. Now, if you don't have an immersion blender, you can do these in a food processor. You can do these with a regular blender. I just do that. I just prefer this method because it goes straight into my I don't have to mess with anything else. No. Just my preferred method. And you see that beautiful, bright orange color, all that beta carotene. You see I've got a smooth consistency. I'm going to double check to be sure that I do not have any carrot pieces that are left whole. It wouldn't be terrible in your souffle. You just have a little chunky piece, but we do want this for the most part smooth. And I do have a few little stragglers at the bottom, so I'm going to mix this up. And I'm going to blend one more time quickly. And you see I'm just picking my blender up carefully, setting it down. And again, if you don't have an immersion blender, I would highly recommend them. These things are so useful. So much easier than taking out a blender or sometimes even a food processor. You can process straight in the pot. You can actually process straight to the stove when you're cooking a soup and you want to blend some of the texture a little bit. These are great. Great. All right, get all of that off. We're gonna blend this around. All right, now to this carrot puree mixture that we have, and you see it's just beautiful pureed carrot. We are gonna add a stick or half a cup of butter melted. So I'm gonna go pop this in the microwave and melt this and add it to our mixture. And while you're melting your butter, go ahead and come in and preheat your oven to bake on 350 and get that started. All right, now to our carrot mixture, we are gonna come in and we are going to add our remaining ingredients, which are our melted butter. Remember, this is 1 entire stick of melted butter. So I'm going to work this in by hand in the beginning. So that's, again, warm. I try to add all of the things that are warm first. So I'll cool down a little bit. So that's our melted butter. And our carrots are both warm. And to this, I'm going to add, and I've already got it measured out here, 1.5 cups of regular granulated sugar. Pop that in. It's a lot of sugar, but we certainly want this good and sweet. But again, I'm just mixing, so the sugar will work to kind of start cooling things down. And I still see I have a few chunks in there of my carrots as I'm working through. You can see some chunky parts there, but we will process again in just a minute. And then we are going to add 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. Mix that up. We are going to have 3 eggs. I'm going to crack them. I'm actually going to continue and keep my measuring cup here to the side. I do have a little butter left in there, and I'm going to crack my eggs into this bowl to get every last little bit of that good butter out. I'm going to try to reuse some of the dishes I've already used. And to this, my mixture is somewhat warm, so what I'm going to do is add just a little bit of the carrot mixture into my eggs to kind of temper them. So if I add these too quickly to my mixture, my eggs will scramble. And that's definitely not what I want. So I'll just add a little bit, and I'll add just a little bit more. And what this does, it brings the eggs up to temperature. so it won't be such a shock. And I can feel my eggs are warming. I'm gonna just go one more time. It's always a good idea. Don't ever pour eggs directly, raw eggs, into a hot mixture unless you're trying to make egg drop soup, because if not, that's exactly pretty much what you'll end up with. It's not what we're going for in this creation. All right, so I'm gonna mix this together. And again, a little bit more careful in my mixing because definitely don't want to lose those eggs. And like I said, my pot that I cooked my carrots was large enough. I'm just using it as a mixing bowl because you want to always kind of be wise in the kitchen, and you don't have to use every dish that you have. Just use and reuse is always good. So to this now we have just a couple more ingredients that we're going to add. And we're going to add a 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. So do you want it to pop up? There's a teaspoon. And a half. And a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And yes, you'll notice I do use a lot of Walmart brand just because Walmart is close to me. Walmart delivers to me, so it does make it a lot more efficient. And when possible, if it's available, I definitely use the Great Value brand. I don't see much difference in it, so 1/4 teaspoon. Now, if you like more cinnamon flavor, you can definitely add up to 1/2 teaspoon. I wouldn't go a whole lot more than that because it could possibly overpower, and you still want to be able to taste your carrots in here. This is, you're not turning it into a sweet potato souffle. This is a carrot souffle. All right, so I hand mix that together, and now I'm going to puree one more time to be sure again that I've got a smooth consistency. Say the texture you're looking for is baby food texture here. Normally I don't say to go for that, but baby food is about what you're going for in this right here. So to this we are going to grease a pan. So this is about a 2 or 2.5 quart casserole dish, and I've greased the sides, and we are going to pour our carrot mixture into it. Beautiful carrot mixture in there. Isn't that pretty? Just beautiful. Get every last bit out. Just pretty. It smells so good. It's just bright. It's pretty. Most of the time, if you take this off to a covered dish, you'll have someone say, "What exactly is that? It's so pretty, and it tastes so good." It's just not sure quite what it is, but it's carrots, and who doesn't like carrots? So let's get ready and pop this into our oven. All right, our oven timer just went off, and our preheat is ready. So we are going to get this in the oven on the top rack. Wonderful casserole in there, and close it up for about 1 hour or until the center is set. All right, it's been about 45 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and check. Oh wow, look at that. Look at that. Now, mine does appear set, so I'm gonna go ahead and take it out. Look at that beauty. Beautiful, beautiful. Hot, hot, hot. Now, with this being a souffle, it is going to fall somewhat. So at this point, I'm going to take out some powdered sugar, and I'm going to dust some powdered sugar over the top. Let me get a little bit more because we want some goodness over here. Alrighty, there we go, guys. There we go, guys. Carrot souffle. I'm Stephanie, and this is Steph's Stove. And remember, we're making memories one dish at a time. Enjoy some carrot.